Salarah Starre is a UK-based advanced law of attraction teacher trainer, coach, public speaker, and leading wellness expert. She will share life-changing wisdom about the law of attraction and how you can use this powerful universal law to build a foundation for bigger and bolder manifesting results. It is time to create the life you deserve, and with Salarah's help, you will.
Struggling to accept what is happening in your life right now can feel like carrying really heavy emotional baggage around with you. It can keep you in a cycle of frustration and ruminating constantly, holding you back from moving on and finding peace and manifesting your dream life. The constant battle with your current reality, it can not only weigh you down, but it can also then affect your mental health, your well-being, and have a knock-on effect to all areas of your life, your relationships, your health, your finances. And without acceptance, the pain of clinging to the past and resisting change, it can absolutely block your path to healing and growth, preventing you from experiencing the full potential of the law of attraction. How to harness the law of attraction by embracing what is. I am Salarah Starre, your law of attraction coach and mentor, and I love helping you to master your manifestations and your life. And before we dive into the topic of acceptance today, I want to send a heartfelt thank you to those of you that have reached out recently and given some really valuable feedback on the show, and how much some of the wisdom has reached you at exactly the right time in your life and how much it has helped you. And it means an awful lot to me. So I just want to reach out and personally say thank you to you. You know who you are. So let's get on with the power of acceptance and the law of attraction. If we look through the lens of the law of attraction, the power of acceptance is not just a foundational element to mastering your manifestations, but actually it's a really key strategy that paves the way for transforming extraordinary change. And when we embrace situations as they are, not always easy, mind you, but when we learn to embrace and accept situations as they are, that's when we lay a really sturdy foundation for constructing our dreams and our aspirations. And that's when we really start to see tangible results in our life. And of course, many of us, we grapple with the concept of acceptance, or we may have heard somebody say, oh, you need to just accept what is, or, well, when you accept X, Y, and Z, you know, it's helpful, of course, to know where we need to go in order to grow, but it's not always easy. And often dwelling in the past instead of envisaging a new outcome, a new future, something else that you would like to experience instead, is not only much more powerful, but actually points you energetically in the right direction to what it is that you want to create. So when we understand and we begin to apply this powerful acceptance, it's a massive game changer. And that's when we really start to, as I said before, see tangible results in our life. So imagine just for a moment that whatever your situation is, whether it be financial considerations, unhappy relationships, or health issues, imagine if you were able to, instead of dwell on the past or, feel guilt that you wish you'd have done things differently, or not just guilt, just wishing you had have done things differently, or you keep kind of like looking back and potentially blaming other people and, feeling like the victim in the situation. Imagine if you were able to accept, right, this is the situation the way it is right now. What is it that I can do now to begin to pivot this situation into a more desirable direction? And that's, my friends, when we start to become much more empowered. So at its core, if we think about the law of attraction, we know that it's like energy attracts like energy. and that our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions, of course, shape the reality that we experience. And unintentionally, of course, and inadvertently, we lower our vibrational frequency when we resist acceptance and we cling to what could have been, or past grievances or regrets, as aforementioned. So with this lower vibration, we then find energetically, we only attract the same energy back to us. So in other words, it hampers our ability to manifest from a higher vibrational perspective, more positive outcomes. And of course, in essence, we just attract more of the same, keeping us in that disempowering negative loop. But on the other hand, when we step into a place where we are able to, or at least willing to, I guess is always a good starting point, accept what is in this moment, a profound sense of relief washes over us, liberating us from all sorts of burdens of the past, and as well as elevating our vibration, we feel more empowered at the same time. There's nothing worse than feeling disempowered, and that's a sign that our vibration is definitely not aligned to what it is that we want to experience. So when we are able to then begin the process of manifesting from wherever we are at in that moment, that's when we start to see things turning around. We start to notice that we get more desirable outcomes, and we focus on what it is we do want rather than what we don't want, right? So then our manifestations mirror this elevated state of being. And by willing to, or if you're at the stage where you can actually embrace acceptance, we can often open ourselves up to new possibilities. And we can absolutely set in motion a ripple effect of positive change. And actually, it happens a lot quicker than we might imagine. So we can turn situations around pretty quickly from this foundation of acceptance. We can start to envisage a clear new path ahead, which guides us to reshaping our current reality and steering our lives in a direction which is way more aligned with our deepest desires and something that feels more joyful and uplifting. So in essence, acceptance catalyzes powerful transformation and absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, propels us towards a much more fulfilling future where we do feel more empowered, more in control, and we start to experience the results that we want. But focusing on preferred outcomes, it is an art, and it is something that we are here to learn. It's not a program that is automatically instilled in us. When we become aware that we're not accepting a situation, can we just flick a switch and just accept the situation as it is? Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have to go through certain emotions and pains of the situation to get to the point where we are ready, or at least willing, to learn the art of acceptance, and then find it much easier to focus on preferred outcomes because we're not kind of ruminating or battling against ourselves, if you like. So in leveraging the law of attraction, it is super, super important to emphasize the significance of focusing on what you do want, as I've said a few times in this show today, and I'll probably be saying it a few more times because we get so caught in mind reading, trying to guess what other people are doing and what other people are thinking. We make up stories in our head based on this mind reading that we might do. And the story that we make up in our head then steers us in the opposite direction of what we want to experience. So instead of dwelling on all the things that don't serve us, we can absolutely redirect that energy towards creating a clear and very vivid picture of what it is that we want to create in our lives, what it is that we want to manifest, the outcomes that we would prefer to experience. And by focusing, like a laser focusing on preferred outcomes, we can absolutely activate the vibrational frequency aligned with that vision. And my friends, I promise it will propel into our physical reality. So rather than getting entangled in the web of past regrets or grievances or wishing things were different, we can channel that energy. That energy that we are churning over and over and over, feeding what it is that we don't want, we can channel that energy into sculpting a clear and beautifully compelling image of our desired outcome. Training ourselves, absolutely, becoming fixated on the vision of our preferred reality. So this deliberate focus, or as Esther Jerry Hicks says, this deliberate creation, it fine-tunes our vibration. So our vibration is then in resonance with our intentions. It's completely aligned. It's totally congruent. And all parts of us are working together in order to walk us in the direction of the peace, the freedom, the joy, the abundance that we wish to experience. And absolutely, like magnets, it will draw in all the elements that are needed in order to bring our desires into fruition. And how cool is that? And I don't know about you, but I need to be reminded time and time again, it's not our job to figure out how things are going to happen. It's our job just to focus on the outcome that we want to experience. And make sure that as we are focusing on the outcome that we want to experience, that this underlying intention is coming from a place of joy and fun and flow and a light energy rather than a fear or a desperation. It's getting into the habit of, instead of buying into the vibration of what is happening right now, it's directing and allowing our energy to buy into the vibration of our preferred outcome. So on one hand, we're accepting what is, and then we're building from that. But then as we are focusing our energy and our attention on what it is that we want to create and what it is that we want to experience, we allow ourselves to become submerged in the emotions attached to our preferred outcome. And that's when our whole energy frequency starts to calibrate itself. So I also want to point out that this is not about evading anything or overlooking anything or bypassing any of the lessons embedded in some of these challenging situations, because those are actually really, really important. So this is not about happy, clappy Pollyanna, just think positive thoughts, just think positive thoughts. It is about having awareness and accepting the situation as it is, being a true master in the right time and in the right juncture of our own emotional journey to then look at the lessons for growth available to us. And then that's when we start to take our power back and create the outcomes that we want to experience. So it's about acknowledging and accepting the circumstances for what they are, whilst nurturing a mindset rooted in creativity, expansion, and of course, growth. And when we embrace this proactive, solution-orientated approach, we tap into our own inherent abilities to shape a reality that aligns more with our deepest desires. And when we act from this beautiful, empowering, proactive, creative space towards manifesting preferred outcomes, we not only harness the transformative power of intention and visualization, but also empower ourselves to script a future that reflects our most authentic aspirations and deepest desires. And through this deliberate act of creation, unlock great potential to craft a reality which is absolutely brimming with abundance, with joy, with fulfillment, with wisdom, and of course, with mastery. Now, I know that this is something on a personal level that I've grappled with over a long period of time. I remember people used to say to me, oh, just accept this or accept that. And I thought, but I can't, because I was still angry or blaming or wounded or whatever it might have been. And I would churn and ruminate over and over and over and over again. And it didn't matter rather how much somebody would say to me about learning to accept. It just was not something that I was ready for at that point. And I do think it's very important to highlight this, because there does come a time, and we do get to a point where we are ready to accept, because we're so fed up of wasting valuable energy, or we realize that by churning and ruminating, it doesn't really get us anywhere. It just creates more of the thing that we don't want. So if you are in a place where you're not ready to accept something the way it is right now, I love the Bridger statement of, I am willing to learn. I'm willing to learn to accept. I don't know how to right now, but I am willing to. I'm willing to learn to accept the situation the way it is and begin using my inherent power and my inherent ability to craft something that I would prefer to experience. So at the very least, if acceptance isn't something that you feel ready for, you could at least start putting energy and attention into the outcome that you prefer to experience. So what would I prefer to experience instead of this situation? How would I like this outcome to be? And doing your best to visualize that in minute detail. What do you see in high definition color? Are there any smells? What do you feel physically or emotionally? Now, in the last episode, I did do a powerful visualization that could help with this. If you want to go back to episode 77, which was the one before this, you could use that visualization to help you to craft an outcome that you prefer to experience, and then visit that visualization every single day for the minimum of 14 days, for a minimum of 14 days. And then start to notice how things start to change and how better things start to feel, and how your mental health starts to become more positive. And in turn, that will then start to affect how you feel physically, your emotional levels, your mental levels. It's a bit like a domino effect. So there's no right or wrong way. I remember years ago when I needed to accept a situation, which took me absolutely years to kind of peel away the layers of ultimate acceptance, but I did it one little chunk at a time. I remember reading a book. I can't remember what it was called now. I didn't find it particularly helpful, if I'm honest. That's probably why I can't remember what it was called. But I guess the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because I just wanted to find a way. Like, I knew acceptance was something I needed to do, but I just didn't know how. And I look back now, and it was more a case of allowing the various layers of my own healing to unfold organically, rather than trying to force something that I wasn't ready to do yet. But having been faced with a pretty challenging situation myself recently, I spoke to a real trusted soul. And when the soul said to me, I think what's really needed here is just to accept the situation the way it is right now. Just accept it the way it is right now. And once you accept it, you will feel more of an ability to then forgive all of those people involved, or at least be willing to forgive all of those people involved. And it was so interesting, because just hearing that one thing, I was able to go, yeah, you know what? I really do. Instead of fighting what could have been, or how unjust or unjust, I don't know if it's unjust or unjust, something was, that I could actually just say, you know what, it is what it is, and this is what's happened, and where can I go from here? And I was able also to then look at my learning and my growth available in it, which was just amazing. But I had gone through a few weeks of emotional entanglement, if you like, with what had happened, which got me to a point where I was then ready to actually move on to acceptance and the willingness to forgive, etc. So it is a bit of a process. So one size doesn't fit all, but if you're willing to, and you start visualizing the outcome that you want to experience, you'll absolutely notice the right people or wisdom or modalities will come across your path in order to help you reach that desired outcome. So I have put together a few tips, but this isn't prescriptive. You know, one of them will speak to you more than another one. And I guess it's just kind of just being open to hearing what they are and seeing which one you feel might help you with any situation that you have become aware that learning to accept will help you actually then to create a better or different outcome. So part of the journey is learning to acknowledge your feelings. You know, not enough attention really when it comes to the law of attraction is given on accepting emotional feelings. It is given on, oh, you got to cultivate the feeling of your desire and imagine that it's already happened. And that side of it is acknowledged and kind of drummed into us, if you like. But actually what I'm talking about is just acknowledge your feelings on a situation you're experiencing. Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel angry? Does it make you feel disempowered? And just notice these emotions and reactions, because if you push them down and push them down and push them down, that really affects energetically. And then no matter how many affirmations, visualizations, or acceptance we do, if we haven't allowed that energy to be seen, be felt, and move through us, it will stay trapped in our energy field and probably eventually start to manifest in physical ailments as well. So learning to feel safe with feeling and expressing your emotions without judgment is really, really important. And sometimes we find that hard to do with maybe friends or family without feeling scared that our vulnerability looks like a weakness or we're getting judged, you know, and reaching out to somebody who is skilled in this department can be very, very helpful at changing your vibration on a very, very deep level. It's something I work with quite a lot in my coaching practice. And if that's something that you'd like to explore, please feel free just to reach out if you would like to have a 30-minute free consult, because a lot of people want to move forward, but they don't know how or haven't found the right person to help them do that. And if you resonate with my wisdom and you enjoy listening to my shows, there is a high chance that we do have some great resonance. And then it's just a case of having a chat on the phone over a cuppa, and we can see if I can help you move forward with that. But acknowledging your feelings and learning to acknowledge how they feel and get comfortable with your reactions to situations. And that's when you will start to notice yourself moving forward and feeling lighter as well. Actually, it's a huge sense of release that comes with that, and relief. So focusing on what you can control. Many of us feel so out of control with a situation, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's mainly been trying to control what other people think of me, or how other people react and respond to me. It's just a wasted energy, because you can't ever do that. You can never, ever change what other people think of you or how they react and respond. And unfortunately, it's more disempowering and creates more feelings of disempowerment and so much more as a result of it. So you could look at, okay, well, what aspects of this situation are within my control? And the things we're speaking about today, what is it that I want to experience from this situation? Or can I reach out to somebody that could potentially help me, a coach, a mentor, a friend? What can I do? Like, how can I help myself with my emotions in managing what I am experiencing and extracting the lessons from it so I can grow through it? Instead of trying to change what is beyond your control, which is what I spent most of my life doing, by the way. So I know that one quite well. And that's really important too. I also find it helpful. It's not always easy in the early stages, this one, by the way, but shifting my perspective, I like to think about, what is it that has driven other people involved in this? So it's not always going to be other people involved, but for this example, I'll use that as an example to see the situation from a different angle. Because sometimes people, when they've been triggered or they're going through a huge amount of stress, they're not particularly centered in the way that they communicate or handle situations. So I do my best to think about what somebody else might be going through, or what pain they may be experiencing, or what kind of childhood they had maybe, which has caused them to show up in situations like this, so that I can reach for a deeper level of compassion. It doesn't mean to say that I have to put up with it or not have healthy boundaries in place, but it does give me the opportunity to release my own resentment and rumination by changing my perspective on it. And as I said earlier, not just that, like, consider it as an opportunity for growth and a learning, and potentially opening up the pathway of the very thing that you want to manifest, because this challenge has created a clearance in your life and helped you to change your belief patterns about something, perhaps. So remember, everything is absolutely happening for us, even though it absolutely doesn't feel like that sometimes. I'm here to remind you, this situation, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it's not here to break you. It's here to help you grow, to become a better version of yourself, to become more loving, more kind, more compassionate, more empowered, or whatever it might be. And I think what's also super important is releasing expectations. The expectations of people, what they should be doing, and what they should have said, or, like preconceived notions of how things should be. And like I said, and what the show is all about, embracing the reality of what is. Not so that you have to keep experiencing it, of course, but so that you can then build upon it and steer yourself in a different direction. So you're no longer ruminating in the past where you can't build anything from, but you can from this present moment. In this moment, you can absolutely build something different for yourself. So, I guess in a nutshell, acceptance is about acknowledging and making peace with the present moment as it is, but at the same time, using your manifesting abilities to create a completely different outcome. And one particular technique that I absolutely love, and it's really easy, preferably used with a journal, because there's something really special about handwritten manifestation rituals. It really slows the energy down when we have a pen in our hand and we write something. It also helps us to connect to our heart. So it slows our head down and helps us to connect to our heart and helps us become more embodied in our creative process. So what you can do is you can write on the top of your journal on a blank piece of paper, I am so happy and grateful that. And then you finish that at least 5 ways, but please go for as many as possible, 10, 15, whatever it might be, with your desired outcome in mind. And making sure that your language is positive in the process. So instead of saying, I'm so happy and grateful that X, Y, and Z doesn't send me horrendous messages anymore that make me feel X, Y, and Z. See, we're still giving energy to what we don't want. Instead, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm feeling empowered and at peace, and I'm able to put a healthy boundary in place. Instead of saying something like, I'm so happy and grateful that so-and-so, saw the error of their ways, again, that's all blamey and that's not moving in the direction that we want. I'm so happy and grateful that we can all move forward for a peaceful resolution. Now, you can use that in many different situations. With money, I'm so happy and grateful that the universe brings me multiple ways to attract large sums of money. And you may not want large sums of money, you may just want a little bit of money. So you can change my words to whatever suits your current situation. I'm so happy and grateful that many wonderful doors of opportunity come my way. I'm so happy and grateful that my health is getting better and better. and then you just finish it. So if you are focusing on your health, you find 10 different things or 5 different things. I'm so happy and grateful that I can move and walk with ease. I'm so happy and grateful that my head feels clear and calm. I'm so happy and grateful that I am able to X, Y, and Z. And again, keeping the language positive, focusing on your desired outcome. And remember, repeat, repeat, repeat in as many variations as possible, and using all your senses so you can, I'm so happy and grateful that I feel at peace and the situation has resolved and everybody's feeling relaxed and calm. Or I'm so happy and grateful that I see people laughing in my home as we all have fun together. What you see, feel, taste, and touch. Remember all of your senses. If you activate those, that actually powers up the law of attraction. Okay, my lovely ones, I know that this acceptance, it is a big topic. There's a lot to share on it. If this has touched your heart and you think, oh my word, yes, this is something that I could do with working with, then do reach out, salarah@salarahstarre.com. And also I'm going to put a link in the show notes for my newsletter. If you'd like to sign up for my newsletter, as over the coming months, I am going to be sharing different opportunities for you to be able to work with me on different levels. So if one-to-one coaching isn't attainable from a time or financial perspective, I'm going to find other ways that I can help you to be able to reach more of this wisdom, and with proper workshops that you can actually make your way through specific exercises, as well as learning how to release old emotional baggage. I've got a whole host planned in the background for the future. So I'll pop that in the show notes. Do click on that and sign up for that. You'll also get a free visualization, Activate Your Master Manifesto, which is one of my favorites. So do enjoy. And I will be back with you the same time next week and sharing more wisdom on how you can become very masterful in your manifestation practice. And in the meantime, take care, and I will be back with you soon.
Thanks for listening. Salarah Starre will be back next week with great insights into the law of attraction. In the meantime, please visit salarahstarre.com.